60s terrorist Bill Ayers tied to Barack Obama. Here's what Ayers said in a New York Times article summing up the weatherman philosophy that he pretty much invented. Quote, kill all the rich people, break up their cars and apartments, bring the revolution home, kill your parents, Bill Ayers said. That's where it's really at.
And so we're back with Stanley Kurtz of the National Review Online. He has some new information about Acorn's involvement in the mortgage mess as well. But I do want to get to that question, Mr. Kurtz, that we talked about before we went to the quick break with regard to the fact that David Axelrod, one of the spokespeople for Barack Obama, has said, well, when Obama was over at his house and launching his state Senate campaign in Chicago in the 90s, he did not know about Bill Ayers' domestic terrorist past. Do you believe that?
I find it incredibly hard to believe, Gretchen. I can't prove it 100%, but Bill Ayers was a hero in Hyde Park neighborhood, the Hyde Park neighborhood of Chicago, where Barack Obama had lived for years. People admired his 60s radicalism. They admired his radical education philosophy, which said that the teacher should bring politics into the classroom. And Barack Obama was at that cocktail party at the end of 1995. At the beginning of 95, that's when he started to work for this education foundation, which was filled with people who idolized Bill Ayers. So how could he not have heard about it?
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, Barack Obama, a really smart guy, a student of history, knew what was going on back then. That neighborhood is like every neighborhood. We all talk about our neighbors. Everybody probably knew about Bill Ayers. Once upon a time, he was a terrorist, and then he skated because the government got some wiretap illegally.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. If you lived in Hyde Park, the Hyde Park Herald, the local newspaper there, regularly puts out articles about radicals, famous radicals who come and visit the area, and the headline usually says, famous radical coming to visit. They used to use the word as a compliment.
Yeah. Here's the other thing, Stanley, is Howard Wolfson, who's here now and ran Hillary Clinton's campaign, a veteran of this business, says that he thought the Bill Ayers thing would come back to haunt Barack Obama, but at this point, with 20-something days left, how effective can it be as a tactic, a campaign tactic, an issue?
Well, Brian, I think this actually has a remarkable amount to do with the economic problems that loom so large right now.
How?
Because, well, on his foundation service, Barack Obama, both at this Chicago Annenberg Challenge with Ayers and also at the Woods Fund, where he eventually served with Ayers, we're sending money over to this organization called Acorn. Acorn, a very radical group that is absolutely at the heart of the current financial meltdown. Because Acorn used to go and bully banks into making these high-risk subprime loans. And Barack Obama was essentially funding their activities. And what I've discovered more recently is that as Acorn was doing this on the local level to banks, they began to run into a roadblock. The banks would say to Acorn, when they ran all their protests and all their legal suits, they would say, look, we can only make but so many of these high-risk loans because Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have very high standards for loans.
Okay.
So Acorn went to its lobbyists in Washington and went to their Democratic friends in Congress.
Oh, boy.
And they're the ones who started putting the big pressure
now it's
through
starting
Congress.
to make sense. All right. Stanley, I tell you what, we're short on time. If folks would like to read more about it, that is your column today at National Review Online. So, Stanley Kurtz, we thank you very much for joining us.